Hi there, my name's Oisín Nunny and welcome to the Next I.O. Spotlight, which is all about navigating player experiences and thriving in the era of zero patience. I'm thrilled to be joined by two very special guests today. We've got the Optimove CEO and founder, Pini Yakuel. Hey, Pini, how are you?
Hey, Oisín, great to be here again.
Great to see you again. We had a great chat last time and you are going to be joined by your colleague, the Director of Personalization Offering, again at Optimove. Welcome to the Next I.O. Spotlight, Matt Gilbery.
Hi, Oisín. Good to meet you. Thanks for having me.
Great to see you, Matt. Thank you so much for joining us. Okay, I'm going to set the scenes and tell you a little bit about why we're talking about what we're talking about today. So in the fast-paced landscape of digital commerce, businesses face the challenge of engaging an increasingly impatient player base armed with an average attention span of just 8 seconds. Oh my goodness, that's not a lot of time if you think about it. So as website loading times and mobile optimization become paramount, the urgency to capture and retain visitors within this very brief window of seconds is evident, to put it mildly. Now, this edition of the Next I.O. Spotlight is going to explore the strategies that operators can employ to leverage this 8-second opportunity, emphasizing the need for personalized digital experiences. We're going to look at what industry giants like Netflix, like Amazon, like TikTok are doing, and we're going to delve into the art of real-time recommendation powered by advanced AI models. All the good stuff right here. Now, by learning from these approaches of the tech giants, operators can create tailored, intuitive player experiences. You can optimize customer data and you can navigate conversion obstacles, ultimately cultivating a superior player journey in this fiercely competitive iGaming landscape. So, my friends, welcome again. I am going to go straight in. Our first question for you all, just jump in, whoever wants to talk about it. Let's get the table stakes on the table where they belong. Let's start by defining a couple of terms. What are we talking about when we say player experience, and why is it important?
I'm happy to jump in and take that. So yeah, I think when we think about player experience, it's everything that a player, a customer experiences, whether it's on web or app or even land-based. They want to feel loved. They want to feel like they're being tailored for. They want to feel like they are being able to play or gamble or experience what is interesting to them. So it's everything that comes into the realm when they land on an operator's site or in their kind of world.
Excellent, right. And, you know, of course, there are good player experiences. This is very much what both of you and Optimove are working around and kind of creating and helping the operators to create. But of course, there are bad player experiences. Now, my question is, have you seen any of these that you can reflect on? And also, why is the player experience, or is the player experience more important in the field of iGaming than in other industries?
I mean, I think in the iGaming world, there is so much competition and there are so many operators that the attention span of a player is very, very short. That's where we talk about seconds. It's probably more milliseconds with the iGaming space.
Wow.
And if you land on a site or on an app and you're not served an exciting experience, you're not given maybe the promotion at the right point in time, you're not given that engagement, it's very, very easy to just switch to another site, download another app, engage with another operator. So it's all about catching that player at the right point in time, giving them the right message at the right time on the right channel, and really making sure that you can really capture their attention and get them to stay on site for as long as possible, and then start building that relationship and that engagement. So I think that's quite critical.
Yeah, if I can further echo what Matt has said, I think that a wrong experience is an experience which is inconsistent, right? So essentially, the brand is talking to the player via email or SMS or push or whatever other type of messaging form, and then when the player meets the platform, whether it's a website or the app, all of a sudden the message is what we call asymmetrical, right? So we want to have the notion of symmetric messaging across all the channels. And that's probably not a good experience. At the same time, if the app is completely kind of like reshuffled or has no memory, as an example, and doesn't learn to know you as time goes by, then the problem of discovery becomes harder. I don't need to, have to go through 5 different clicks to get to where I want if I can get there in 1 click, right? I don't have to go through this cumbersome, experience. I don't want my cognitive load to be high when I'm engaging with the brand that I like. And I think it's specifically important in gaming because we say it a lot, like the gaming space is fairly commoditized at the essence of the product, right? So I can place a bet on Man United versus Man City in many different places, right? And from a pricing perspective, probably I can get very similar offers. But what sets different brands apart is obviously the quality of the experience they can deliver, of the product they can deliver. So this becomes more crucial versus, let's say, if you want to buy a Tesla, there's only one place you can do that.
Yeah, indeed. There's a lot of competition out there. You're not wrong. And given this 8-second attention span challenge for operators, how crucial is it for iGaming platforms to actually capture and retain user interest really swiftly? And what are the implications for player acquisition and retention?
It's as I mentioned earlier, it's more milliseconds than seconds. So
Wow.
It's really critical that you do the right things, you put the right strategy in place, whether it is acquisition or whether it's retention. If we think acquisition, when a player does a search on a browser or in a search engine, and they the SEO kind of kicks in and they click on that first one that takes them through to that site, how can the operators start to personalize that experience straight away so that they can keep them on site and actually present them with what they want to see? So in our world, we think about what's trending and what's popular. We can start to help operators to engage straight away and then start to deliver them the experience that they're looking for, and being able to offer them the game or the bet that they'd searched for straight away. So you can start to use technology to really kind of take them from search all the way through to acquisition, getting them to sign up and starting them to deliver that experience. And we also think about how can you maximize the wallet share of the player, and then being able to test and learn and grow and be able to really start to see, actually, do I need to offer a promotion, or can I give them the better experience straight away, and actually start to save money for the operator, but also give the player what they want, and start personalizing the experience without the player even realizing that they're being kind of led down a path that they want to be led down. And then with retention, that's it's much easier to retain a player than acquire a player. So once you start to build up a history of what that player is doing with your brand, and they start to use you more, and you start to build that picture up, you can start to personalize their on-site experience really powerfully, but also their off-site experience. As Pini mentioned, the CRM marketing messaging and the whole kind of way you interact with them, whether that's a push, whether that's an email, whether that is a web pop-up, or whether that is personalizing their experience in that Netflix effect by delivering their experience is very different to a different player's experience, but all they think they're doing is just kind of interacting with your site. So it's using those different clever strategies and technology, and using AI and machine learning in the background to really build that complete holistic experience that those players are having.
Excellent. And I will be coming back to you both on the Netflix question a bit later, because it's such an incredible, thing to learn from, if you like. Now, let's get back to some of the fundamental elements. What would you say are fundamental elements in terms of a positive player experience in iGaming? And do these differ from other online platforms? What would you say?
Ooh. Pini, do you want to take that one? Do you want to jump in there?
Well volunteered, Pini. Thank you.
Sure.
Well, I think
again, I think it's the positive. The fundamental elements are, you're talking about an experience that is, the word seamless is being used a lot. something that's slick and smooth. So essentially, we talked about kind of like less clicks, less cognitive load. I want to find what I'm looking for very, very quickly. I want to be in a place that doesn't requires any special effort for me to get what I want to do. Because essentially, I think the one difference that I can think about is, at the end of the day, gaming is entertainment, right? So you want to be entertained, right? You want to go to a place where it's kind of like fun and enjoyable. And if you have to, do some of those things that are less fun right along the way, until you get to your experience, then it takes away from the overall experience. So I think in that sense, but the fundamentals of good UX, easy discovery, all of those things, I think they're pretty much universal. But we are talking about entertainment and gaming, so I think it gives it a special flair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well said. I like that answer a lot. Yeah, Matt.
And I guess that does that just adding on top of that definitely differentiates whether, like, if you're thinking retail or e-com type experience or financial services, where it's still really important to personalize those experiences and being able to offer people the right product. But yeah, when you're thinking iGaming, there is that entertainment side. There's an emotional attachment to it. When you're playing a game and the potential of winning, or you're offered a promotion and it's the right promotion at the right time that says, oh, I can go and use that and go and play a game or place a bet on something. Then it's all about driving that emotional kind of attachment to that brand, that then builds the loyalty, that then builds their time on site, spend on wallet, and kind of their lifetime value with your brand. So it's quite powerful.
Yeah, indeed. And of course, everybody watching this will know that iGaming is a sector that absolutely thrives on innovation. So things move fast. But how do we just say that iGaming platforms can balance this drive to introduce new features and functionality, but also maintain that sense of familiarity for existing players? You spoke about it's easier to retain players than it is to attract new ones. So how do we kind of keep both sides of that equation in the right place?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think it's about not completely changing everything you do. It's about the underlying technology that can enhance the existing site architecture that you have. So players will use certain brands and work with certain operators because they know where to go and what to do when they land on their site or on their app. So it's about how can you empower the underlying experience by giving them, when they land on site and they do a search, and you can maybe put recommendations into that search that helps them find what they're looking for quicker, or you rearrange the site that you provide them with recommended things to do, what's new, and as you can kind of like use their existing knowledge of your site, but you start to enhance it with offers and promotions or recommendations that drive them towards what they want or what they might like. So you're kind of enhancing the existing experience in a much more powerful way, that they find what they want and they see what they like much quicker, that drives them towards kind of staying on site much longer and exploring and learning and seeing what they can do more.
Indeed. And, we've been talking about acquisition, we've been talking about retention, but let's talk about that enormously important slice in the middle, conversion. But there's not a lot of time to make this happen. We're talking about, attention spans of milliseconds. We've got that 8-second opportunity. How do you think that operators can enhance conversion rates within this short time scale? Do you have a view on any strategies that they should know about?
I'll chip in, Matthew. I think ultimately it's we're going back to the same answer for everything, but maybe it's like a good mantra. So essentially, I think it's about relevance, right? So in our space, when you talk to somebody about something they care about or something that they see, something that speaks to their primordial brain, I think it's the limbic or the lymphic or the Matthew. What was it?
Limbic, I think it is.
Limbic, yeah. So you speak to the limbic brain, right? Then you get their attention. Then you're in, right? So you should talk to people about things that they care about, and I think that's where personalization comes in exactly. So Matthew's not going to get excited from football. He likes tennis, right? So and he adores Federer. right? So he's got posters of Federer. He listens to all the podcasts that Federer, participates in. He's obsessed with Federer. So when he goes in and he sees a picture of Federer, you got his attention, right? And as far as I'm concerned, I don't know who that Swiss really is. So I think that's the way you do it. You do it with relevancy, and you do it by talking to every person as if they're unique. Then you can convert. You can be quicker with that. Bear in mind that when the player just lands first on your properties, you know them less, right? So you need to take educated guesses based on data. You don't have a lot of information. Maybe you've seen them kind of like as they browse through their first experience. You need to change your prediction of what you want to show them. Of course, with somebody that that's easy.
Indeed. In the next edition of the podcast, we're going to invite Matt to share his secret Federer tattoo on live stream. So thank you for that.
But it could be the FF podcast, which is the Federer fetish.
Wow.
Matthew Gilbery. Yes.
That's a whole new sector for next IO. Brilliant, exciting times. But listen, we're talking about optimization, and of course, we live in a mobile world. We are a species of Homo sapiens now. What is the impact that you think of mobile optimization? How critical is it? What impact does it have on user engagement, and also that likelihood of conversion in this very short space of time we're speaking about?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone everyone lives with their phone stuck to their hand, and we all know that when we try and access an app, if it's difficult to get into, if it's not user friendly, we just delete it and move to the next one. So I think it really is. It's about an interesting, exciting, easy to use user experience, but it's also about, once you've downloaded that app and you start looking at it, it's about surfacing recommendations or offers or the right engagement at the right time. We talk about push notifications. We talk about even communicating an email. We talk about sending that campaign, and it could be a newsletter, it could be a promotion, it could be an alert that a match is going to start. It's that engagement with those players at the most critical moments, so that you're supporting them, building that relationship. And like I say, I'm a big Arsenal fan. If I get an alert from a particular brand to say the Arsenal match is going to start, here's some exciting tips and information, I go, oh, actually, I was going to go and engage with that match, and it might push me to do that. So I think the whole world of mobile is not just about potentially the app, it's about the engagement and the communication. And how do you use personalization, not just for the actual on-site experience, but the communicational element as well. But also tying it into everything else that you're doing as a brand with that player, to make sure that you're not spamming people. We all know that if we get too many messages from the certain brand, it can turn a good experience into a negative experience, and you then turn off alerts and you then turn off that engagement. So it is about really balancing it and having that level of orchestration and piece there. So it's bringing that everything together.
Yeah, totally. And this kind of leads us quite elegantly onto the next question. We mentioned it in the introduction. We've got the giants like Amazon, like TikTok, like Netflix, and they do recommendation and personalization and product recommendations really, really well. What do you think the iGaming industry can learn from these tech giants? Big question.
I mean, there's so much we can learn from it. Did you want to jump in there, Pini? I've got.
Yes. Thank you, Matthew. I'm just taking.
I can see you chomping at the bit.
Now, so we can each rest a little bit on each question. It's great, this tag team. I think ultimately, these giants, they are kind of like setting the trend and showing everybody how it's done. The reason it happens is because they enjoy, they're the first ones to enjoy like vast amounts of training data, right? They're solving a problem which is very much chunky and crunchy, so it's a very interesting problem. So obviously Discovery on Netflix, that's a big problem. They got boatload of content, or YouTube, or Amazon, right, with all the products on the planet. So Discovery is just such an important thing to have. Amazon started with books, but then continues. And then if you take the Spotify's of the world with music, it's the same thing. So although I'm pretty surprised by kind of like the music's being shuffled to all the time, I don't know it's whether I'm very, very narrow in my taste or the algorithm doesn't like to have me explore too much, but it's always the same 15 songs or something in my feeling at least.
It knows you too well.
I know. Yeah, I don't know if you feel the same, but at the end of the day, what these guys have done, right? They have basically developed. There's like a whole kind of like a food chain that you need to have in place to solve this problem, right? So number one, you need to have the algos and the math, right, to actually figure out what's the best next thing to show Matthew, given that he just watched Too Hot to Handle. So what should we show now? Is it Love Island? Is it Love is Blind? I don't know what. And
Never heard of these shows.
I'm just kidding. I don't really know that Matthew watched that stuff. I'm just trying to let the people ease themselves up a little bit when they listen to us talking about boring personalization. So it's number one is kind of like having the mathematics, and Amazon started with collaborative filtering models, and then you have all different types of models that basically do it pretty well. So that's number one, and the second thing is the notion of what we call ML ops, right? The machine learning operations. So a combination of the machinery, the right servers and computers, and networking, and speed of data crunching. And in many cases, by the way, that was something that the likes of Amazon and Google and Netflix were able to do first. It wasn't about the math, right? The math wasn't the biggest problem. The biggest problem was more of let's call it the computational problem, to actually do it in production, do it in real time, do it fast enough so the experience doesn't break when you actually do it, right? You don't want to come in and recommend and have the whole page get stuck. So with the democratization of cloud applications like AWS or Google Cloud or Azure from Microsoft, all of a sudden, us regular Joes, right? So Optimove is a 500 people company, but still compared to an Amazon, we are a drop in the water. So we can all of a sudden enjoy a tech which is at a very high scale, right? And we can support use cases at very high scale that you couldn't before. So these guys have been super important to basically kind of like show us the way. And then when you think about the gaming use case, it's also very, very, very promising and interesting, because you're talking about entertainment, which is very similar to Netflix or YouTube or something like that. You're talking about a world with lots and lots and lots of content and titles, right? So there's gazillion types of games that you can choose from in the realm of casino, as an example. And in sports, you're talking about the challenge of actually always looking at the game's calendar, the games that are coming up in the future, and how do you now start to recommend about a game that never happened, right? So it adds a little bit of something interesting and something challenging and thought-provoking to think about. So yeah, I think it's and also it's an experience that everybody knows now, right? So if a player goes in and he says, because you played the slot game Cleopatra, right? Here's a few other slot games that we recommend, and it's going to say it, right? So you, just like he says, because Matthew watched Too Hot to Handle, right? You're going to get. So Matthew knows the experience from Netflix and the Too Hot to Handle. Now playing Cleopatra, he understands exactly the recommendations that he's getting. I'm not sure Matthew is finding this joke funny, but
I like it. It's
I've
a
got
keeper.
a sense of humor. Don't worry, I've got a sense of humor.
I know you do. I know you do.
But this kind of leads us on perfectly. It's Matthews. You see these recommendations: Too Hot to Handle leads to the next thing. Tick, tick, tick. But like, how can the folks tuning in today? How can they actually make this happen? What tech is out there that can provide these AI-powered recommendations, as we've been talking about?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So Optimove has all been about real time. It's always been about predictive. It's always been about personalizing the CRM marketing experience. And we have OptiX, which is our digital experience platform, and it is specifically built for the iGaming sector. And it is all about personalizing the on-site player experience and ensuring that every player that comes on site, whether it's sports or casino, is delivered a personalized lobby, a personalized, offers in terms of what they're offered, in terms of whether it's a game, a casino game, or whether it's a particular sport that they like or actual team that they support, and making sure that they are delivered an experience that is totally relevant to them, whether they're a new player coming on site, and and starting to engage with that platform, starting to be, kind of how do they personalize that experience? We can use OptiX to do that. What's popular, what's trending, pulling, what they've searched for, giving, generating that. And then as over time you build up a experience with that player, you can start to personalize everything that they do based on their history, what other players are doing, really giving them offers and, kind of really personalizing everything they do. But also then, how do you take that on-site personalization experience and start to pull that through into the CRM marketing side? And this is where, when you have Optimove and OptiX and the underlying data is all connected and it's all on the same SDK, and I won't go too technical because I can't go too technical myself, but it's just creating that symmetric messaging, that holistic experience, and being able to put things like offers and promotions and recommendations into the communication that you're then sending out, and making sure that it's all connected, and what someone is experiencing on site is connected to the messaging that you're sending them, and vice versa. The messaging you're sending them connects to their on-site personalization. So it really is kind of a powerful offering that we're seeing some real kind of game-changing, excuse the pun, experiences and results from some of our customers that are using that as well.
Tremendous. Okay, that's great.
Sorry, and just the final thing as well is also making sure from a business operator perspective, you're giving players a personalized experience based on what they want, but you're also, and it's also completely in real time as well, so we can react in real time, but it's also adding in that business element as well. So you're lacing in, the business requirements as well. If there's new games you want to promote, if there's, certain sports you want to, kind of push up, if there's, one games provider gives you more margin than another games provider, that you're making sure that is also laced into the personalization experience as well. So there's a business element, a player element that together provides a really powerful experience.
Tremendous win-win-win. I like the sound of that very much. And if folks are interested in finding out more, please do check out the Optimove website. We're going to have notes all around where you're watching this video for more information. And I'm sure Pini and Matthew would be delighted to hear from you directly if you drop them a line on LinkedIn. But we are coming up to the end of time. Time does fly when you're having fun. I'm going to direct this last question at your good self, Pini. Talk to us a bit about where you think this is going to go in the iGaming industry. What is the evolution of AI-powered personalization, and what might be happening next?
I think largely speaking, the iGaming industry will it's a grander question about humanity and how humanity will adopt AI and different technologies. I think specifically in iGaming, what I find very interesting in this industry is that the product itself is great, everybody loves it, and it doesn't require too much change. What do I mean by that? So if you think about it, the nature of sports betting, the nature of casino games. When was a completely new casino game been invented? What did you see a new blackjack coming in the last 20 years? Not so much, right? Yes, maybe there's a few games in the Far East, but in many ways, kind of like humanity saying, okay, we got our games, we're set, right? We're happy with those games. And now what's coming up is more, it's kind of like you're turbocharging the games, right? So maybe there's a way to fill out bet slips and or parlays, or they call it in the US, right? So you fill out bet slips, and while you're filling it, the odds are automatically calculating in real time with machine learning, but you're still ultimately supercharging and enhancing, right? A very well-known concept that has been going on for many, many, many years. And that's not the case in some other industries, right? That they're saying they're focusing on, we want to invent a new product, a completely new product. And in gaming, it's crazy how the product is so good, like humanity likes the product as it is, right? They just want to use it. So the emphasis is on regulation and responsible gaming and how you do it and in what pace and where and what's the experience around it. And how can we celebrate the sport, or how can we educate people on how to play better poker? But poker is poker, right? So I don't know, that's kind of like an observation I have as an outsider to the industry that is actually also kind of like working with other industries. I think I find it to be pretty interesting. Like it's just the economic phenomena of the iGaming industry is also very interesting for the same reasons, right?
Yeah,
absolutely. It's always desired. The only question is which country is going to adopt it next. But it's desired, right? People want it. There's no question of, wait a second, but will it actually work in Brazil? Will people in Brazil bet on sports? I don't know. We need to do a no. That's not the question, right? So that's my 2 cents. But I think that's how AI will come in, right? It's gonna supercharge and enhance an already well established and very popular and loved product.
Nice. I love it. So there's an old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But maybe we should change that to, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, supercharge it by using AI. So we have some really exciting times ahead. Listen, thank you both so much for joining us. We are running out of time. Thank you, Pini Yakuel and Matthew Gilbery from Optimove. That was absolutely brilliant. So my dear friends, joining us from the next IO community, keep it locked, tune in next time, and make sure you're getting all the trends, tips and tech to supercharge your way forward in the industry. We will see you next time.